Hello and welcome to today's session of PreSales Insight. Today's topic: do you want a POC or two? We will cover some of the basics of POCs, alternatives and how we could drive them to a success. Hello, my name is Sascha Oehl. I'm pre-sales leader here in Europe and my focus is on building up organizations and growing organizations through the life cycle. Let's have a look into today's agenda. Firstly, we will talk about what a POC is. Then we will talk about options that we have to make sure that we make good and conscious choices. We will talk of the power between the different parties and we go step by step what is necessary and what defines your success in a POC. Last but not least, we talk about a very important point: putting skin into the game. And not just our, but also the one of the customer, to make sure we are doing it with a purpose. So let's start quickly in today's program. Firstly, you all know probably exactly this situation or similar if you are working in sales, technology sales or pre-sales for a while. Once upon a time, you were sitting in a customer call. The customer had laid out all the requirements that he has for the solution. We have a solution fit. We presented the solution and some of the references that we have. Awkward silence in the room. Suddenly, you hear a voice from off stage saying, "How about a POC? Shall we do a POC?" And you feel like, bam! You thought you were so close to close the deal, and suddenly you have a lot of obstacles in front of you. Doing a POC or not should be a conscious decision. Don't do it just because it's nice, because you haven't done it with the customer or so. Do it if there's a purpose, if you can win something with the POC. To make sure what winning could be, we have to understand what's a POC, what's not, and what alternatives exist on the market. So, what's a POC? If you run it absolutely by the book, it comes from project management. And the idea is to get something new, a new solution, a new concept, and you prove that it's realistic, that you can do it. It's something that hasn't been done before. It's not mainstream, and the outcome is likely, but not guaranteed. What is a POC? Yes, this is by the book, but if we are talking in the IT industry today about POCs, this is not exactly the same. When we talk about a POC, we are talking about something that is new for the customer or which is a relevant customer environment, where we build up something that the customer can play around with, jiggle a bit, press a few buttons and so, but it's more than a demo and less than an implementation. It gives a customer like a test environment, a guided test environment, where they can test some things that they do before they go into production with things. What alternatives are on the market? I named one. It was a demo. Demo basically is a predefined flow. We've done it before. We know exactly what to click. We know where the time is ticking a bit slower, where we have to entertain the customer. We know it step by step. We've done it hundreds of times before, and we just execute it again. The demo is great to increase trust in your solution, to see it working, to see the user interface, see is it complicated or is it easy. That's very good that you can do perfectly in a demo. When we talk about the POC, you need a customer concept. The customer comes with a concept and a test plan, and you build up the environment that matches to these requirements. And then you show that the concept works. Most likely, it is a concept that has worked with other customers that you know for a while before. But not for this one. For this customer, this is perfectly new. And it basically ensures the customer that the concept works with your equipment. That the processes, that the things that they want to achieve can be done. That's basically a POC. If we look further, then we find two other things. The pilot and the try and buy. The pilot is basically we implement a very small scale version of the solution in the customer environment. It's productive, it runs, and it ensures that the customer knows that this can run in their environment, that the users can work with it, that it runs with their processes. It's integrated in their environment. Starting with a pilot, you can then grow up for more options. The good one with the pilot is it is paid. The customer is paying for it. They're buying it, the equipment, they're buying professional services, and they're bringing it into their environment. The other option, when you go a bit bigger, is the try and buy. The try and buy basically is you get the solution, we define success criteria together, you can put it into your environment, you can start with data migration, you can use it. It's basically part of the lifespan of the solution. And while we tick mark the success criteria, we go into a sale. So if we pass the success criteria, the try and buy turns into a buy, into a deal, into an order. This is a very good vehicle to make sure that the customer can try the solution in their environment, that they gain the trust that they need, and that you can get closer to a deal. If we map these four options into a small chart, it could look like this. When we put commitment on the x-axis and effort and cost on the y-axis, we see that the demo is pretty cheap, but the customer commitment is not so high. Because it's not implemented in their environment, it's not driving into a deal directly. It's early in the life cycle of a deal. The pilot and the try and buy, they run with the highest commitment. So there's something where the customer puts money on the table, your money, where you can make directly your margin and you invest in making it run. The POC is somewhere in the middle. So if you've got choices, usually it's better to reach out for a try and buy instead of a POC. Discuss it with your customer. Because there's also another hook that comes with a POC. Usually we talk about a POC free of charge. We have to put it into our sales cost. We have to carry the burden. We have to pay for it. And this is quickly said, but there's nothing free in this environment. Someone has to pay for it. And if you make the list, I made a small example here, it could be different in your company. You see you have to invest a lot of time in the first. You have time to put in for the preparation, finding out what exactly the customer want to test, to nail this down into a document, to make sure that the right stuff is ordered. Afterwards, you have to install the environment to make it run. And then in the first phase, you usually run it together with your customer. So the customer is running it, you're sitting by them, you're guiding them through all this. It strengthens the relationship, don't get me wrong, but it's days that you are investing in this customer. Then you have a second phase. The customer is still playing around with all this equipment, and they come to you with this question and that question, with this problem and that problem. And in the end, there's a debriefing. While you run the tests in the phase 1 and phase 2 and you tick marked all this stuff, you have to put it into your document, you have to discuss it with the customer to make sure they understand the success, and so on. This sums up to quite a lot of days pretty fast. You're in 15, 20 days that you're investing in just one POC. On the other side, you have cost for the equipment. You have to deliver it. You have to pick it up. You have a depreciation of the hardware for each month. It costs money. And of course, you've got travel cost, hotel cost, and all this stuff adds on to your bill. Pretty quickly, a POC costs you like 30, 40, 50K. And here you have to make the decision. Is it worth to invest into this customer? Is it worth to invest into that deal? It's good to invest it, but it has to be a conscious decision. You have to make it because you clearly see the benefit. When we talk about a POC, we also talk about power. On the first view, the power is completely with the customer because you want to sell. You need the deal. You need the commission that comes with the deal. And last but not least, right in your back, there's sitting your sales manager and asking you every day the same question. Mate, where is the deal? It's a lot of pressure on you. But don't forget, also the customer has a need. They have a mission that they need to fulfill. They cannot solve it alone. They cannot go to a modern data center alone. They cannot renew their infrastructure alone. They need a solution from a vendor like you. So there is kind of balance where both parties can invest and both parties can win. To make sure this runs properly, we have to follow a few steps. So the first thing is we have to set up the POC. There's a lot of things to do, and I just want to highlight 3 things in the setup phase: people, expectations, and emotions. What's it about? Firstly, you have to make sure that you know the people. Your people in your team. Can they fulfill the requirements? Do they have the specific skills that you need? And the customer team. Is it just a few people who are hanging around and that they have no idea what to do with? Or are they responsible, decision makers? Are they involved in the technical architecture? Do we have a list with the contact details of all of them? Sounds easy, but quite often in the mid of a POC it's hard to reach the people. Do we have an understanding? What's a driver for each of the members? They are not homogeneous. They come with personal drivers to be part of the POC team. The second topic is the expectation. Before we go into the details of the POC with test case 1, 3, 5, 790, whatever, we have to be clear that we understand the overall target of the POC. What is it that the customer wants to find out? What is it that the customer wants to drive? We have to understand this to go for the right targets. The next bucket in the setup phase is the emotions. Don't forget the emotions. The gut is driving a lot of the actions that we're doing. Quite often we think it's the brain, but in the end it's the gut, and we justify it with the brain. This is also true for your customer. So look at the customer team. Is everybody really striving for success of your POC? Or is it probably that your solution makes a puppy of your customer's team obsolete? Something that they've built themselves, something that they made career with, or even is it for them a career stopper if your solution is really good? Make sure you understand this. Usually you've got someone who thinks he can make a career with having your POC running good and your solution getting into the account. They are sponsoring you. Find out who it is and support these people. On the other side, there are fewer experts in the team usually, and they have a solution. They have a way to deal with all the problems that you are solving, and they're making their day with it. They know how the day feels. With your solution, their expertise is reduced in worth. So make sure that they can build up expertise, that they keep the worth for the organization. Otherwise, they will become roadblockers. Make sure you know who's in the team and what emotions, what gut feelings drive every member of the customer team. When we have the setup phase done, and yes, I know you also have to order the equipment and all this stuff, but this is for the moment as given. You go more into the plan phase. In the plan phase, I want to highlight also three things: customer's concept, the key items, and the next steps. What is it? Firstly, the customer's concept. A POC starts with an idea of a customer. They know how they want to set up your environment. They know how they want to drive it. You have to understand it. You have to document it. Put down in the document the concept of the customer. Put the requirements in. Put in the expectations of the customer. What do they expect from the POC? What do they expect from the solution? If you do this, you have good levers for later justifying the deals and to better understand if the POC goes good or bad. The next item is documenting a step-by-step plan. Don't let the customer get into the driver's seat completely here. Don't go on a mission where is it like, I have to build the environment, the customer will test and tell me if it's successful or not. Then you have no control about anything. Make sure you know the test plan, step by step, documenting each test case, documenting the procedure that the customer wants to run this test case, the expected outcome, so you can perfectly document the achieved outcome, the date, and who in customer's team has seen it. This is a proof for a later deal. Of course, the customer is testing other stuff too, and they're trying to get a feeling about the user interface, they're trying to get a feeling about this and that. But make sure you have the test cases documented with the customer and you sign them off together with them, so that you in the end can put it out and say, look, we've run through the test cases successfully together. That's important to get for the next. Right in the planning section, you need to be clear about the follow-ups and the actions. This involves the action that's in the POC, like if the customer has to provide services to make the POC successful. Easiest example is provide power. Yes, that they are not providing power, you can't run your equipment, they can't run the test, and you have to put it down in the document. But also documenting the timeline. Which test is done on which day? So you can follow up and track, which you see in the manage section. And then you have to have the first look, the first glance of what happens afterwards. Align with the customer what happens after the POC. Is it we will do POCs with 3 other vendors and then we make a decision if we need a solution at all? Or is it like this is a key criteria which is between the deal and you? Make sure you know the steps that's in customer's mind. Of course, they will not always tell you everything, sometimes not even the truth. But you need to know what's in their mind. With all this documentation, with all this setup, with all this plan, we're coming directly into the next part. Now the POC is running. And look, you have to manage it. Document each test. Document each outcome. If an outcome is not the desired outcome or the expected outcome, make sure you understand why this happened. Make sure you understand if you have an option to tune it. Make sure you can tick mark the test cases. And get a sign off not just from your side, but also from the customer. You achieved it, they should make a tick mark. For example, for a whole day, for 20 cases, or case by case, whatever is right in your criteria, make sure they are signing it off. So that everyone knows they have seen it. It's right, it happened, and you were successful. And of course, you need to push for the timeline. During a POC, a lot of things happen. Unexpected things in customer environment, in personal life. There are a lot of things that can get easily important or more important for the customer than running the POC. You have to push for the timeline. Otherwise, your equipment will be there for another month and another month and another month. And bear in mind the cost. There's a depreciation for every month, for every week. Every week it takes longer, it's your money that burns. Every week it takes longer, it's your deal that slips. That's important to make this clear and push for the timeline. To support this, make sure there is skin in the game from both parties. You saw the bill right in the beginning, and we know you're investing money. Make sure your customer is investing too. They have to invest rare resources. Ask yourself in some cases, what is a bigger investment for your customer? Sometimes they come up with, oh, I'll pay you 20k for it, or 50k, or whatever. And you know, they have got pockets full of money today, and 50k is a good thing, and it shows kind of a buy-in. And don't get me wrong, getting money for a POC is a very good step. Usually, there's also something better. Investing people, good people, decision makers, technical architects, and all these kind of people. Make sure they are part of the team. Make sure they are there and you can work with them and you have access on their time. This is the rarest resources that a customer usually has. Their talent, their geniuses. Make sure you can access it. That makes sure that the POC runs with a priority also in your customer's environment. Document it and use it as a lever. And now, what's on Monday? That's a question you should always have in your mind. With all the things discussed, with all the things that you're discussing with the customer in front of a POC, demo, pilot, try and buy, whatever, what's on Monday? Do you have a plan how to document it? Do you have an idea where you want to do a POC, where you want to do a try and buy? Make sure you understand your options. Make sure you are ready to action on Monday. This is important because quite often a POC comes right off the blue when someone else says, how about a POC? And this is basically the story that we were touching today. So in summary, we have discussed what a POC is, the right by the book variant and the reality. And we've seen the options. There's a POC, but you can do a demo with less effort, if suitable, or you could do for a pilot or for a try and buy. Know your power. A customer needs a solution too. You need to sell it, but they need one. And work with it step by step. Document the stuff. Make sure the test cases are documented. Make sure you can do the test cases. Check it, check it, check it. And ensure that both parties have skin in the game. When you do all of this, your next POC can be a big success. And maybe you can even reply about How about a POC? Or even better, why don't we do a try and buy of it? We put it in front, you implement it, just one effort, and if we are not capable of doing it, you get your money back and we take back our hardware. Think about it, think about your customer, and be successful selling your solutions.